Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today at Earth and Sky. We greatly appreciate all of you who watch us online and all of you who come here in person too. It really means a lot to us to share these moments with you. And I also wanted to just remind you, if you would, if you haven't already, please like the Facebook page. That button's right down below you on your screen. And if you're watching on YouTube, then hit subscribe right there, right down below you. Yep, see the button right there? Yep, go ahead and push that. And if you want to get notifications of all of our broadcasts, then go ahead and hit the little bell right next to that subscribe button. We really appreciate each of you. Your comments, your feedback is what inspires us to keep doing this. And I had a couple of great announcements too. So if you are interested in meditation, if you would prefer to be less stressful as opposed to more stressful, if you would prefer to be more focused instead of confused, if you would prefer to stay in the present moment as opposed to worrying about the past or the future, then meditation would be for you. So 2 different things. Online, the Chopra Center is offering their next 21-day meditation. This one is on desire and destiny. So how you can figure out what you desire, name it, create it, and then design your own destiny. So that's already started. So if you're joining it today, you will have missed the first day or 2 of it, because those meditations are available for 5 days. And then you can go back and review them, or you can catch up just right where we're at with it. And that will go for 21 days. After the 21-day period, it is $50 for those meditations. So you might as well jump on in now, Chopra Meditation Center. And also, I wanted to let you know I'm going to be doing a meditation evening at Right Natural Health Pharmacy as well. Normally, the meditations that I lead, if it's not on our Sunday service, I do charge $12 for those meditations. I do all of them for free for each of you after our life talks on Sunday, and I will be also doing them complimentary on Monday evenings at 6 p.m. at Right Natural Health Pharmacy. That's located at 1260 South Linden Road. They do ask that you please give them a call to register so that they know how many people are coming, so they can have the RSVPs and prepared for seating and all of that. I'll also have some chakra meditation crystals there available too that are infused with Reiki if you're interested in that. And Right Natural Health Pharmacy is a really nice place. It's a newer pharmacy that just opened earlier this year, and I really love the person who owns it. He was a pharmacist, just a standard regular pharmacist. And over the years, he started to realize that there's more to health than just the normal chemical pharmaceuticals. So he wanted to create a pharmacy that has a lot of alternative health products as well, that's focused on health and wellness, as well as the standard Western approach. So they have a lot of great essential oils and a myriad of many other things. They do a myriad of classes there too, several different make and take classes and a lot of other things. So I encourage each of you to find their Facebook page, Right Natural Health Pharmacy on Facebook, and check them out. They have a really interesting store. I like all of the things they have there and their mission and what they're offering.
It's right there by Court in London, is that right?
It is, yes, yeah, that's it. So stop on in, say hi, and
It's a very nice layout too.
yeah, so with that, and so starting tomorrow is our first one. They actually have already done the first chakra. Somebody else did that, but I'm picking up where they left off. So we're going 1 chakra at a time each week. So we'll be talking about the sacral chakra this Monday, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And I think that's all of our announcements today.
Sure.
I think
There's a
so.
lot of them.
I know I really can get long-winded sometimes on these. So anyway, let's get right into the life talk today. Today we really wanted to talk a lot about savoring the moment and not wasting time. We all have a certain amount of time that we have here on this planet, and a certain
Which we
amount.
don't know how much it's going to be.
We have no idea. Some people are here for a day and then they're gone. Some
Right.
people are here for 7 years. Some people are here for 70 years, 90 years. I talked to one of my clients, one of my psychic clients today came, and he was talking to me about somebody that lived to be 101 years old. So you never know. It could be tomorrow. It could be
Yeah.
years from now. But with that in mind, do you want to waste your time while you're here? Or do you really want to decide what you're doing with your time and how to enjoy it and how to appreciate every moment that you have?
Embrace the real important moments.
and stuff.
Yes,
Yeah,
and not just slaving away at, the day to day, or, working and then thinking someday I'll be able to, interact with my family, or someday I'll do the things I love, someday I'll do that vacation I
I'll
want.
spend time with so and so, or I'll really get close, or have special moments, or
Right.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, well that's so. Well, and when you say about how much time we have, that was we were down at we were taking care of one of our kitties, and I was talking to this nice lady, and she had mentioned that one of her godson, they had just lost, and he was like 30 years old. He amazing kid, fiance. They're sitting there, and the kid is talking to his fiance through text, and he's saying he's got heartburn, and it's really bad heartburn, and they're texting back and forth, and he's like, I feel horrible, blah blah blah.
He actually said it. I feel like I'm
and
dying.
then, yeah, he's kind of said like, man, I feel like I'm dying almost. And then so he's sitting there and he's petting his dog, and he's laying in bed, and so the fiance. Apparently, the fiance had been through all kinds of horrible stuff just before this guy, and almost died, and from the person she was with, and so it really was a lot for her to open up. And this guy was a really great kid, and so she opened up to him, and was, it's these, all of the stuff combined, and you're just like, oh, it finally, everything in life is coming together, and everything seemed great. And then that night, they lost him, and that was just a few weeks ago. And so, and then the next day, someone
Seemed
goes
like a
in.
healthy kid. You never
Yeah, the
know.
next day they walk in and he's laying on the floor, and he had died during the night. And they think it was a heart attack, and so it's just one of those. You have no idea. Literally today could be it. And then at the same time, if it's not it, what are you going to do today to make sure that tomorrow is worth it, and the next day is worth it, and the next day is worth it. And so, yeah.
How do you seize that moment? How do you find the time? How do you carve out time to do things that really matter? Because yes, we need to work. Yes, we need
Absolutely.
to have certain things for life, and some of those we enjoy and some of those we don't enjoy. But how do you find a way to carve out time to make moments that really matter, so that you're not only enjoying this life, but you're also leaving a legacy behind? Because our legacy are in the memories that we leave behind. And so what memories are you leaving?
With the people.
Right,
Yeah.
with the people
Yeah.
that you care about, with the people that you love, with the people that matter to you, with people in the world in general. What legacy are you leaving?
Well, and being that the only constant in life is change, and you don't know the people that you really care about. You don't know. I mean, they don't even have to die. They may just move away. I mean, something as simple as they just suddenly are gone, in the sense of you don't have access to them, and it happens all the time. And with that, I mean, it's one of those things that you need to embrace when you have friends, when you have family that you really genuinely enjoy and you care about. You need to take, especially in today's society where it's everything, we're so connected, we feel like we're so connected all the time, but in doing that, there's really very little actual connection. Where we talk to people constantly, we
Social
digitally
media.
interact with people constantly, but there's no second to actually being in physical close proximity. Everything's shut down. You turn the TV off, you turn the phones off, and you just be with people. And there's no second to that. I mean, we did that just the other night with some friends of ours, and it was awesome, and it just really made everything so special about, it's a special moment.
And it was wonderful, and it wasn't that we were bored or had so much free time. Some people feel like if you have the free time, or if they only have the time, then they'll
Right.
do those things. Well, one of the friends that we were with had started their day earlier than they normally even wake up, and had been doing that
All
activity with many people all day until it was like 9:30, I think, when
9:30,
in the
10, yeah.
evening,
Yeah.
when they finished. And then we met with them about 10 o'clock and went out to just gaze up at the stars, to see if we could catch an aurora borealis. And
Yeah.
even though we didn't catch the aurora borealis, we had such a great time just sitting under the stars, looking up. Before we knew it, 2 hours had passed. And it was wonderful just to connect. And we
Yeah.
ended up doing that 2 nights in a row. And
Yeah.
the day before that, we had been excessively busy.
All day.
But it's worth it. It's worth it to find that time, to carve out those moments, to be with people in person. Social media, I think, has this tricky thing of making us sometimes feel like we're more connected than we really are.
Absolutely.
And it leaves a certain emptiness when you're on your own, that is not really fulfilled in the
No.
same way as when you're out and meeting people. And they, on social media, a lot of times you'll see that IRL in real life. And so how many of
In
you
real
are
life.
IRL with
With
your
your
activities,
friends
with your
and- yeah.
life, with,
Yeah.
you know, with creating moments and memories that truly matter? Because how many of those conversations that you have online on social media, can you remember what the conversations were and how meaningful they were and what the content was
Right.
of them?
Yep. Next to
versus
none.
versus those memories of when you go out to dinner with friends, or you go to somebody's house, or you go out and you have tea,
Yeah.
or you just, you know,
Spend-
go check in on
spend
somebody.
time.
Just
Yeah.
check in and see how they're doing.
Yeah.
Or how great does it feel when a friend drops over and says, you know, they want to come over and chat
Yeah.
and just sit?
Yeah. And on the other side of that too is if you're with people, if you surround yourself with people that are not worth the time,
Right.
if you're waiting for them to get better, if you're waiting for that moment when things are not going to be the way they've been the whole time, you're waiting for that moment where everything's going to
Change, yeah.
change or whatever it's going to. If you're waiting for it to get better, it's never going to come. The wait's never going to happen. That
you
you know.
can't change people. You
No.
can't make them be a certain way. You can't say, you know, I see this potential in you. I really want you to be this way, and I think you can change, and I think you want it. And yet, past behavior is not showing that they're really changing. If you look at the long-term line of it, you know, they may say
They always have and they always will.
Right. I see this so often in relationships. I had a client just the other day that was their situation, and they had been in this for a while, and they said, oh, but I see so much in them. I see
Yeah.
so much potential. I know they want to change. I want to fix them. I want to help them. I want to make them better. And yet they're spending all of this time in their life.
Well, it seems like
And
they.
it feels like a fight. There's
Yeah.
less good than there is bad.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They usually hang on. It seems like people hang on to one or two very specific traits, and then but they were, like when
In the
when we
beginning.
first met, when we were first
Those
together.
first 3 months.
Yes, those
The
first.
honeymoon phase.
Everything seemed okay. Well, if everything seemed okay, that doesn't mean anything. Because
Right.
weren't you at your best? You know, weren't you kind of different than you are now? And usually, yes.
And relationships are work, and it is always about communication, compromise, and compassion,
Yeah, yeah.
and figuring out how you mesh together. Where do you give? Where do they give? Where do you make them happy? Where do they make them happy? But I've seen this a couple times with clients just recently, where it seems like there's this fight, and it's
Yeah.
always on the one side of the struggle, and they want to fix and they want to help. And they just want to bring this person to be what they see in them.
Yeah.
And often that is exactly what you said, where it's those
It's what they
first
what
3
they
months.
had seen, or they have hope in what they're going to be, you know, and all of the promises they're made. But that's the thing. But the problem is that our lives are finite. I mean, we have just a short time, and that day that turns into a week, that turns into a year, that turns into 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. All of a sudden, you're a decade into this thing with the same person. You've lost that. You can't get that back. In that decade, you could have been spending with innumerable people that would be accelerating where you're going. It would be making you happy in ways that you can't even dream of, and yet you've been just waiting for something to change. Yeah.
And I've seen this also with people that are newly dating. Some people that have been in a long-term relationship, and the person that they love has either died or moved on or different things. I've seen a lot of spouses that have died lately. This last year there was a lot of that, it seems. And so then when they do get back into the dating field, they're looking to immediately find that one special person that's just going to fit with them and that's going to meld with them. And it's truly a numbers game with dating, and with finding what you want in your life. And
You meet them, you give them a chance. If there's no, or you figure out what you want, and then if that's not there, you go, thanks, bye.
And this comes back to, because it's all about maximizing what time you have
Yep.
here and making the most of every moment in your life and making every moment special. And knowing that yes, there is work, but there's also figuring out where that balance is of where do you spend your time and how much energy do you spend in a certain direction, and figuring out what it is that you want. And this is where I'm so big on lists. I'm really, really big on lists. And I know you laugh at me sometimes with this
She
too.
loves
This is an
lists.
ongoing conversation at points, but I love lists. I love knowing because it helps you know what you want. And so when you really want to maximize your life here and you want to maximize taking advantage of enjoying all of the precious moments that you have here, then having a list to know what it is that you want really helps. So if you have, say with a partner specifically, if you write down a list of what those traits are that you want in somebody, and then checking that and seeing how that relates with what you have, if you're looking or if
Well,
you're
and I would say to that, I mean, even if you want to shift that, because we're kind of talking more about people that are already together, is kind of where we were going with your time and stuff. And so, if you want a good way to maybe either maximize the pleasure that you get out of the person you're with,
Mhm.
or to find out, am I with the right person, is write down all of the things. What are the things
What
that
you
just,
love and
yeah,
what
that
you
are
hate.
just amazing about that person? What are the things that you would love to just, those are that you grab on and hold on to? And then what are the things that they do that you're going, that's not good, that's not good, that's not good. And then look at that. I mean, and just, you can actually physically see it, as opposed to an emotional stance of, but I really care about them. Well, why do you care? Well, that's an emotional stance. And an emotional stance is, it's important, but it's not really everything. Because if you get emotionally attached to things, if we get emotionally attached, as a fact, we get emotionally attached to things if we just hear it or we see it on a regular basis.
like advertising.
You hear a name of a candy bar, you hear a name of a car
Suddenly you
over
want
and
it.
over and over again, and suddenly you like that car. Why? Because it's become habit. You hear it.
See it.
It's a regular thing. And if you see somebody, you wake up, you see somebody for a month, 3 months, 6 months, you see somebody every day for 6 months, they're habit. And by nature, we go, I like that. Why? Because I'm used to it. I'm comfortable with it. I know what it is. Regardless of good, bad, or the other, I know what it is.
And there's 3 lists that I want you to do. I want you to do that list. I want you to do a list of yourself as well. So what things do you like about yourself? What things drive you crazy about yourself? What things you feel like you need to improve on within yourself? And kind of do that self-assessment, because that self-assessment is also going to tell you a lot about yourself, where you're at, what you think of yourself, and what it is that where your qualities, where your traits are, where your likes and your dislikes are, and seeing that as a mirror of yourself. Sometimes that can be a little tricky too, depending on where your self-esteem is. Sometimes you might find a lot of things that you love about yourself. Sometimes you might find a lot of things that you don't like about yourself. But I really ask you to suspend judgment when you do that too, because you need to look at yourself just authentically. No judgment.
Yeah.
Nothing is good or bad.
Yeah.
Just figure out what's working within you. What do you like within you? And what's driving you a little crazy? What habits do you have? What personality things that within yourself do you wish were a little bit different? And some of those might be things that you do want to change or you need to change. And some of those things might just be part of who you are. Just like you can't change other people, there are certain things that might be kind of a chemical thing of who you are, and then you figure out how you can better that. Because even if it's a core trait, you can always better things too. And you can always learn how to finesse that and better that.
And that's
And
the
then-
way they can spend their time to make their life better.
And exactly. And then the third list is really important on this topic, and that specifically is writing down what you want in this life. What makes you happy in this life? Because so many people want to be happy, they want to enjoy every moment, but they have no idea what it
that
is
means, yeah.
that makes them happy. They
Yeah.
have no idea what they want to spend their time doing. And this was, I've seen this so many times in different clients too,
They
where
want to feel like something special, but they don't know what it is that gives them that feeling.
and they feel kind of lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't really know, what hobbies do you like? What things do you enjoy? What makes you tick? What makes you happy? What do you want to do that gives you pleasure? And so a lot of people just seem to be a little out of touch with that, and that's so critical to being able to maximize your time here, to maximize that present moment and creating memories that last and that are really special that give you that legacy for yourself, not even the legacy for other people, but that making your life meaningful. And that's what it's coming down to, is making your life meaningful while you're here right now. What can you do?
That sounds great.
Yeah, and so doing those lists will help. And we say that specifically about the people that you're with, because the people that you're with, including friends, not just your significant
No,
other,
no.
but this relates to friends as much as it does your significant other. Anybody that you're spending a lot of time with,
Or that
those
you wanna spend a
people
long time
are
with.
influencing you. And
Yeah.
those people, just like you are influencing them, your personality, your traits, how you interact impacts their life. And in the same way, they are impacting you. It's so funny, you see couples, and the longer they're with somebody, the more their traits meld. I know you and I, our traits have melded
I-
quite interestingly over the years.
At all.
And he has really impacted me. I should have,
Oh.
oh wait, I did do a list.
Who's that? Yeah. That's right. You should have done a list. Oh, I did do a list.
So, lists really help. So I would encourage you all.
And if that might prove her wrong right there, actually.
So figure out what it is that you want. Figure out what gives you meaning. If you were to be told that you had 3 days to live, how would you want to
How would
spend
you
those
spend it?
3 days?
Yeah.
What would you want to do? If you were to be told you had 6 weeks to live, what would you want to do in that time? How would you find meaning? How would you find joy? How would you embrace the present moment? If you were told you had 3 years to live,
Yeah.
what would you want to do? Probably each of those evokes different things in
Yeah.
you, but they all evoke a certain amount of urgency and a certain amount of, I want to seize this moment, I want to live this life, I want to take advantage of what's here and not just get caught up in the humdrum daily grind of things. And so those things are just, things to think about. If you feel like you're trying to figure out what to write on that list and you get a little bit stuck, put those in your head. If you were to die in 3 days, 8 weeks, 3 years, 5 years, whatever different time frames, and see what goes on your list, what shows up. And then how can you make those things happen? If you have a dream trip that you want to do, how can you start working now to make that happen? If you have people that you want to interact with and see more, how can you carve out time now, even if you're busy, even if you have things going on? And for some people, it's not that they're busy, it's that they're caught in a certain monotony of they like to be at home, they like to sit at home, they like to have their quiet
They
time.
watch their shows.
Or
and
they
then
even get bored,
yeah.
but all they find that they end up doing is watching TV or different things. and-
Or surfing Facebook, or all of the
How much
time
time
suckers.
are you spending
Yes,
on
the time
Facebook?
suckers, yes.
Right.
Since I've gotten on Facebook, I thought I was going to lose my mind. I thought I was like, when I decided to get off Facebook, I'm like, this is going to be a big deal. And it was so not a big deal. And now I go back on it on a rare occasion, and I pull it up, and I go, and it's not important, not important, not important, not important. Okay, well that was nice. I flipped through to look for something that's really important,
Right.
and it really isn't there. We go through and we get sucked into it because there's so much information.
And part of it's a chemical thing too.
Yeah.
As you're looking through posts and you're embracing the different aspects that people present of their lives on Facebook, it releases that oxytocin,
Yeah.
which is a feel-good hormone, and then
Because
you
it
feel
gives
like
you-
you're really excited. And then there's also addictive hormones that end up
Yeah.
kicking in as you're watching it, and so then it just draws you
Because it
into
gives you
it.
that sense of that tribal
Closeness.
village feeling, even though you're not actually having that,
Mm.
which is a funny thing.
Yeah,
so.
there's a balance. There
Yeah.
is some definite connection. There is definitely
There is.
some connection. There's certain levels of that on Facebook and all social media. There's definitely a certain closeness that comes in, but it's not like
But it's
IRL.
not- it's not a- yeah.
Real life. So I
It's not
just
that
encourage
important.
you to figure out what you want to
Yeah.
do with your life and make the most of it and do what you want to do now. Don't delay. Don't put
Yeah.
up with things and
Yeah.
think, someday, possibly, whenever. That someday is never going to come unless you set a plan and you decide where you value your time
The
and you
time to do
value
it is
yourself.
now. The time to do it is right this second. The time to make the plan to do it, and when exactly you're doing it, you do right this second.
Right.
It's just
and
that
then
simple.
you build towards it and you
Yeah.
make your dreams happen. And then before you know it, you're living your dream life because you're doing all of these things that you've dreamed about, that you wanted to do, and you realize you can make it a reality. You
Yeah.
can set a plan and make it happen.
And then it makes
you
it all
create great
worthwhile.
memories and great moments.
Yeah.
And
It makes each moment worth it.
it really does.
Yeah.
It really does. So I hope that helps encourage all of you. And of course, if you're thinking of leaving Facebook, don't forget we're on YouTube. In all honesty, have a wonderful Sunday. I'd love to have you join us tomorrow at Right Natural Health at 6 p.m. 1260 South Linden Road, and please call them to RSVP as well. They would like to know who's coming. Their phone number is 810-732-2555. Have a great day.